to you live on Block Talk Radio on Friday evening. And it gives me great privilege, and surely I'm highly honored to be able to speak to you all at 7 p.m. We come on every day of the week, 7 days a week, 52 weeks out of the year. And brothers and sisters, I want to shorten my opening. You know, I love to give all of you all the greetings of Assalamu alaikum. But more important, we know that Ramadan will start this evening after Maghrib. Ramadan Mubarak to all of you listening. You know, when it's time for prayer, when you what I'm getting ready to introduce to you, this is so needed that in Islam we can always make up our prayer, but this is prayer. I want to introduce to you all a gentleman that I became very fond of, and I love his character. I love his ability to perform in society. This young man has represented the state of New Jersey as a senator for over 40 years. That's 4 decades of continuity and understanding the system. But he's done so much that he took a love for the Islamic brothers and sisters that's not only in Union County where he's from, but from the whole state of New Jersey. You can pick up the phone and you definitely will get him. And anything that he believes he can do for us, he does just that. And anything that he believes is difficult, he will give you his undivided attention. In Islam, we say it's all about good intention. The act is Allah, the God. We cannot make anything come to fruition until we, brothers and sisters, ask Allah to do it for us. But you have to make an effort, and this young man has proven that without a shadow of a doubt. With no further ado, I'd like to introduce to you our beautiful human being. I call him that. He's Irishman, and I love him for that. And I'll tell you later on in the program why. But this human being, this upright human being, that has walked in many masjids and sat and listened, even prayed with us. And that's why it gives me great privilege to introduce Senator Raymond L. Lesniak. Brother, you're on my show, and I'm honored to have you, Senator.
Well, it is my honor. Assalamu alaikum. A Ramadan Mubarak for you all.
Blessed Ramadan. Well,
Ramadan Mubarak. Let me correct you for one little thing. My heritage is Polish American.
Polish.
But Polish American. And I will tell you that my grandparents came here in the early 1900s. But Muslims have been in America for over 400 years.
Yes.
And I respect that, and I honor that. And I live in a between 2 mosques and an Islamic center in Elizabeth, New Jersey. And my Muslim neighbors are not just my neighbors; they're my brothers and my sisters. And I have learned, and I've participated for decades in social events with my Muslim brothers and sisters. But it only has been while I was campaigning for governor that I've been praying with you. And it has been one of the most wonderful, uplifting, spiritual experiences I've ever had. And I can feel the peace. I can feel the compassion and the devotion to your religion that I'm missing in my own self. So this has been an uplifting experience for me just to feel that. I've always intellectually known peace. I've known that. I've said that. I've had it on my website. But now I feel it in my heart and my soul. And I am determined in my run for governor to not only take that message throughout New Jersey that we are one America, and that Muslims have been the fabric of America since its inception, and they are part of America, and they have made America strong. And I will send that message throughout New Jersey, and as governor, throughout the country, and indeed wherever it has to be said, because I feel it in my heart and my soul, and I have such devotion to Islam. Just one last thing. I'm a Roman Catholic, and we have problems, difficulty, not eating meat on Friday. And yet, you fast for an entire month. That's how devoted you are, and how much peace and love is within your hearts. And that's what I admire so much about Islam and my Muslim friends and neighbors. Hello?
I want to say to you that correction is even deeper, because my grandmother was Jewish, and guess where she was born? In Poland.
In Poland, absolutely. Sure.
But I thought you was Irishman because you remind me of Senator Chris Jackman.
Of course. Yes, a close friend.
He walked me through this whole entire state with Governor Burns, and he was a friend indeed. And when I lost him, I said, I just lost an uncle, and Gil Clancy, the great Gil Clancy from CBS, who is an Irishman, say, I will be your uncle. That's a true story. However, let me tell you, you came about by a young man we all love, Hassan Adela, attorney at law.
Hassan, let me say this. Hassan is going to have a major role in my administration. He is so talented and so committed to helping people that he will be a major factor in the Governor Lesniak's administration and have a significant role in the policies that we adopt.
It's amazing that, let me tell you why you drew so many people. Again, it's all in good intentions. But when we packed the place in Roselle, people thought maybe 10 or 20 people would show up. But we put 450 people in that room. It only holds 350. But the owner, because you was the guest, called her staff in and said, I need you, because she didn't prepare for all of them. And she said, there's not one person going to leave here with an empty stomach. But you stayed from the beginning to the end. And when you said to the Muslims that were sitting there, of course you saw we had Italians and Irishmen and people, all those women came from Christianity, but they all loved you. When you said, Hassan, when I become governor, you're going to be the attorney general. I mean, no one, there's not a politician that I've seen ever said to a minority that what I would like to do for you. And this is one of the reasons why the Muslim community in El Islam has gravitated to you, because you are consistent in what you're saying, and you're now saying, hey, I got a big position for Hassan. Well, Hassan brought you around. He speaks so highly of you. And when a brother say, this is the one, you don't have to question it, because he has that continuity. You know, he played football. He was a running back.
Yes, he was.
Everything he does, he tries to score a touchdown. That's why I take him in the foxhole with me any day. But, Senator, let me just ask you a few questions. One, what sticks out is when Muhammad Ali passed away, we called it janazah. We needed to do a prayer for him, and we wanted to do it in the park. We didn't know how we were going to get it done. We called you, and sure enough, you produced that park called Kellogg Park in Elizabeth. What makes you just operate that you, when we call you, you just go ahead and do it?
Well, I think it goes, and it certainly goes beyond the Muslim community, but it comes from my father. My dad had to quit school in the 8th grade to support work on the docks to support his family, and I had to serve in the United States Army in order to get the GI Bill and to work because my parents didn't have the resources so that I could get to college and law school. So I know what a helping hand, and my dad did whatever he could for me. So whenever anyone needs a helping hand, I want to be there for them. Just as, by the way, and I just found out today, listening to a sermon, Somerset, at the Somerset, how by giving food at iftar, you benefit by making that offering. So Wednesday in Elizabeth at the iftar at the Islamic Center, I'm going to donate the food because I get more or as much, if not more, out of giving than actually what I'm offering. So it's just part of what makes me live every single day. It inspires me to help whenever it's needed.
Well, I want to say that is a great understanding to get you in heaven. For
yes.
Money comes, money goes.
Right.
You can feed the hungry, and when you can give back the knowledge and what you have something that the Muslims in Islam in the state of New Jersey don't have, and that's the ability to know this system. But to know the system and not be honest and transparent and sympathize with those who've been shut out is one like yourself is what we need, because of just what you said, to be conscious of what is going to get me into heaven after all this is said and done. And I appreciate that. So what happened is they're in Baton Ridge, Baskin Ridge.
Yes.
They had so much problem. We were shocked and amazed as you wrote a letter, even came out on TV and said things that normally don't come out of a human being's mouth when it comes to us, the Muslims here in America. What motivated you to tell them in Baton Ridge how the Muslims to you have been all your life that you have known? And more important, you said, if I could paraphrase it, that if you can build synagogues and churches, what makes you stop a house of worship when it comes to the Muslims in Islam? Can you expand on that for me, please?
Well, yes, I can. Again, it comes from my upbringing that whenever there is an injustice, I am motivated to right that wrong. Again, I want to tell you a story about my dad. We had the first Hispanic family move into our neighborhood in Elizabeth. And they bought a local convenience store and lived on top of it. And the neighborhood was up in arms. We don't want these Hispanics in our neighborhood. We're going to boycott their store. We're going to drive them out because we don't want any more of them in here. My dad, being of Polish heritage, paid that no heed. He would go and shop in that store. And I was 12 years old when I walked out of that store with my dad, and he was confronted by a handful of angry neighbors. Why are you shopping there? Why? That's a Hispanic store. We don't want those people. We don't want those kind in our neighborhood. Why are you shopping there? And my father calmly said, well, I needed a pack of cigarettes, and they sell cigarettes there. That's why I went there to shop. That's why, because that's what they had, what I needed. And the neighbors just went away in disgust, but we broke the boycott. Now, I learned that at 12 years of age, to accept people for who they are as human beings, not what religion they practice or what their heritage is or what their color is, but who they are as human beings, and to stand up for that. And that's why I had not only, I mean, I could not stand silent. I could just not let that injustice happen. And that's why I stood up, because it was an injustice to Muslims. But I stand up against all injustices. But particularly now, obviously the Muslim community is under great stress. And that's another reason why I've been going to courses on every Friday and whatever meeting I can, to assure the Muslim community that we are with you. We are going to defend you, and we are not going to let President Trump take away your rights. We will stand up for you, and if they take you on, they have to take me on also. I greeted some Syrian refugees on 3 different occasions, and in churches, and where they were welcomed, and I asked them to stand up. And they were, afraid almost to stand up. And I said, are you all Syrian refugees? And they said, yes, we are. Meekly said, yes, we are. And I said, well, you are no longer Syrian refugees. You are now my brothers and my sisters. Welcome to America. And I think that's what we need to have throughout New Jersey, throughout America. And that leads me to one other thing. It's so important. Yes, I'm running for governor. And yes, I want every person to vote for me, but it's important that every Muslim come out to vote. And in the Democratic primary, because the other guys are not with you. But it's important to come out and vote, because you need to establish the political force that you can be, that you should be, and that you've earned. And once you come out to vote, it won't only be politicians like me who take notice, but there'll be many, many others. And I will come and go, but it's important for the community itself to get more involved in American politics and exercise their right to vote, so that they can be a force, whether I'm here or not. The Muslim community will be heard and respected as a result of their power at the ballot box. That's how democracies work. And so I just urge everyone, yes, I want everyone to vote for me in the Democratic primary on June 6th, but make sure everyone comes out to vote.
Well, let me say this to you. The reason why our president, Donald Trump, doesn't know what you know is because he never associated with us, or he's not of knowledge. But what you just said, how you act, if Prophet Muhammad, prayers and peace upon him, was here, he will embrace you, because what they don't tell the world, that the Prophet, prayers and peace upon him, is for all humanity. Just what you just said, not just you in Islam. Any human being that's in trouble, I'm there to help them. The Prophet never tried to win you away from your religion. He never told you to leave your culture. What he wants you to see what God says, and God is for every human being on the face of the planet. Now, when you get men like you thinking like that, now we got a major chance. So it brings me to a point. Muhammad Ali, the greatest name in the history of names, when you take the survey, he outnumbered the Beatles, he outnumbered the great singers of all times in entertainment, Elvis Presley, just recently, his ex-wife and his son came out to fly somewhere, and they retained them. Unbelievable. Took them through very significant changes.
Yes.
You was the only one. Went to the airport.
Yes.
Went to the airport on national TV and said, I will not tolerate this. And Mr. President, this is unconstitutional what you are doing. Tell me what made you come from nowhere and decide to go to the airport and hold your press conference.
Well, as I said, wherever I see a justice, I spring to action. But it's also beneficial to the United States to have Muslims come here and work here. I mean, it's a community of so many professionals, so many engineers, so many medical doctors. We need the Muslim population to help America grow. So I was fighting an injustice, but I was also fighting for America, because immigrants of all types have made America great. Not Donald Trump, but immigrants of all types have made America great. And if we stop that, then we will no longer be great. What separates us and why we are such a great country is that we are such a diverse country, that we have so many religions, that we have so many ethnic backgrounds and races. And if we don't embrace each other, that's when we will fall apart. And that's what I'm all about and what keeps me going. I've been in office now for 40 years, but I'm not ready to stop. Why I'm running for governor is so I could take, like when I'm at that airport and I'm there as a senator, if I'm there as a governor, there'll be a lot more attention throughout the country and the world. And that's why I'm running, to send my message of justice for all throughout the country, because particularly now, with Mr. Trump leading the way, we need someone else to put the public straight and understand that we are one America. And as one America, we grow stronger. Hello?
The Imam, Jabba, who he's the Imam of Dawn Islam in Elizabeth.
Yes.
He almost teared up. It was a united get-together from men from all parts of the country and the world. And he wanted someone to go with him. So he called you.
Yes.
I don't know what you had scheduled, but you canceled it and went with him. You know, I speak to him socially, privately. And one thing about Jabba, he's a mirror of his father. He doesn't give credit where credit is not due. He has a very good demeanor. Everybody falls in love with him. But he called me and just spoke about how you came and stayed right there with him, because he was the guest speaker, and he didn't want to go there by himself. He usually go with his son-in-law, Hassan Nadella.
Yes.
Because Hassan is such a great in demand of being attorney at law and former prosecutor. He's able to win these cases when people are being charged and false charges. How did you feel to go with Jabba when you approached all these people of the cloth and you're standing there with Jabba? And remember now, keep in mind, you wasn't going to run for governor.
Right.
But you was there. Tell me the reason why you decided to do that.
Well, because I gain more from giving than I do from getting. And again, I have learned that the the devotion of the Islamic religion is just so deep. It fills me up. As a matter of fact, recently I was not feeling well. Maybe a little despondent or down on my chances at any particular time. I just wasn't feeling good. And I asked one of my Muslim friends, because I have a Quran in English, what chapter should I read? And he told me to read, I think it's chapter 19 or 21 about the Virgin Mary. And Christians would be surprised that in the Quran it talks about the Virgin Mary. And I got my spiritual uplifting. This would maybe be a heresy in my religion to say this, but I get more spiritual uplifting from going to Muslim services than I do in my own Catholic services. There's just something about the intensity of the passion, the real passion that flows through that we can learn a lot from. And we can learn a lot from each other. And that's why I went. Because, as you said, the reason why Donald Trump has his view of Islam is because he doesn't know Islam. And without that knowledge, he acts stupidly. So that's why, by the way, I have bought 38 English versions of the Quran. I am distributing 37 to my Christian and Jewish friends. 36 I'm distributing to my Christian and Jewish friends. 37th I'm keeping for myself, and the 38th I'm going to mail to Donald Trump to see if he can read it, because he can learn from it.
Well, I want to tell you once again, this is coming from your heart because you're not a student of the Quran. But look what you said. It's an old saying, it's better to give than to receive.
Yes.
When you give, it means you have it. Accept it means you don't have it. So it's better to give to receive. But let me tell you why. We do not say, I'm a student of Imam Walasi Muhammad, and I take pride in saying so, but he has always told us nothing is wrong with the Bible. Something is wrong with your interpretation of the Bible.
Yes.
But the Bible started with Genesis, ended with Revelation. The Quran, Senator, began with Revelation. So it's just the extension.
Yes.
What you see
absolutely.
in Islam is the knowledge that started from beginning today is now becoming such common sense of how to treat one another. So I like that. We was doing a prayer, another thing, the United Juma.
Yes.
In the park, and you got us Edison Park, but you not only got us the park, you came and did Juma with us, sat there and listened to the whole sermon, and you didn't leave. And this was hot. I mean, we were sitting on the rug.
It was hot. It was hot. Yeah.
And you got us the park, and you came and was with us. Now, I tell my listening audience, you came into Don Islam, and we, the shore board of Exodus County, Union County, was all sitting there. But it was time for prayer. We had no clue you was really coming. I believe they said you was, but we doubted maybe he said he would be there. So we said, Senator, we like to make sajda prayer, meaning you bow your head down on the floor, and you're in your womb of your mother, you submit your whole will to God. You said, can I pray with you? And you did sajda prayer with us. And you had your suit on, and you went down with us because I was right next to you. You can't fake this. You you just cannot do it. And I believe you kind of explained it in your last sentence. But can you just feel that you decide you should make prayer with us?
It just comes over me. This is nothing that comes through my head. This is nothing that I think out. It comes through my heart and my soul that this is something I want to do. I don't do this to, show off in any way, shape, or form. Or I wasn't even running for governor at that time, right? It just came over me that this
I want
is
to
something.
intervene. No, you said I might run for governor, but don't.
Correct.
say nothing.
Correct. Exactly. That's what I'm thinking about it. But I didn't have to think about that. This was just something that it's just like in Star Wars, may the Force be with you. This came from a power greater than myself, greater than all of us. As to why I did that, and I just got so much good out of that, and I just feel, I don't know why I feel so close to the Muslim community. There's something there. There's a special connection there, and I feel, I think it's because I am, I learned again from my dad, and don't forget the Polish were discriminated against, with the jokes and the dumb Polacks and stuff like that. I heard that. So I think I learned so much, and that the Muslim community is so underappreciated here in America. And you deserve so much more. And that's why I just take so much, it just makes me feel I am honored to be part of your prayer service. It's a great feeling for me to participate.
Well, I want to say to you, Senator, Prophet Muhammad, prayers, peace be upon him, won the people over with his character. Even though he knew nothing about religion, knew nothing about Islam, 40 years he was what you are manifesting to be. Now, I'm going to show you something that you've done that got me tremendously. When we had that fundraiser for you in Roselle,
yes,
a Italian gentleman stood up. His name was Fred Marcianano, and he walked from New Jersey all the way to Trenton to create a bill that would stop our children from being molested. He asked you a question, and you knew him from a can of paint, and you said, and I'm going to show you how effective it was. You stood up and said, "Sir, I am with you, and I will fight for you to get that bill passed." And I'm letting my viewing audience know the bill was that they offered him in the 7 figures to go away, that they will pass the bill from 50 years old down.
Right.
He said, "No, I want, if who's alive must pay for these grown men and women that has been abused." Now, Senator, I will tell you something you didn't know. All those Caucasians that were sitting at the table, and let me give you their degrees: scientists, doctors, psychiatrists. Every one of them is very successful. And guess what? They all been molested.
Wow.
You brought tears to their eyes when you stood up and said, you didn't know anything of that. All you knew is what he said.
Yes.
What made you say, "I will back that, and I will do everything in my power to make sure that law is passed"?
Well, I did not say that without any knowledge. I had actually been working with Senator Vitale, who was the key sponsor on it to try to get that passed. So it just didn't spring upon me. But again, it emanates from I have this compulsion. I have a compulsion to right wrongs. That's what drives me. That's what keeps me involved in government. Most people my age, people I know at my golf club, because I used to play golf before I was running for governor, they're retired and they're playing golf all the time and they're hanging out. That would drive me crazy. I am inspired and motivated, and I live to fight injustices, and that's the only. After all these years, I decided to run for governor because I just could not do enough as a senator. As governor, I can take that not only throughout New Jersey, but throughout the country and into Washington. I am motivated to do even more, and the more I do for others, the better I do for myself.
Well, I know a very distinguished young lady who was the House Speaker.
Yes.
Today, she's known in politics. Sheila Oliver saw him.
Yes. Yes.
Said, I'm with you 100%. And she
yes.
smiled when he said, so is Senator Lesniak.
Yes.
Now, I want to say this. It gives me, once again, a great privilege, and I'm highly honored. I've been successful. I don't have to give accolades where they are not due. I'm saying to my viewing audience out there, who we going to call when we're in trouble? The Ghostbusters? You have to have a man like yourself that's been in politics for years. You had to debate. I took a survey. They said everybody promised. No one had a track record. You was the only one that when you spoke, you said, I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this. And they said, my God, this is the only professional that has the capability to be governor. So what comes to my mind, one of the most outstanding achievements you have done, because we suffered the worst, you stopped the human beings. They call it the death penalty. What made you tackle that and then win it?
Well, that was motivated to me. I had my own spiritual epiphany, as we say in the Catholic Church, and it involved a relationship that fell apart for me, and I was distraught. And I turned to a spiritual practice, and a spiritual practice that demands total commitment to compassion to my fellow human beings. And I met with families of victims of murderers. And they said, we do not want, the death penalty does not help us. It actually hurts us. This is not good for us. Indeed, if you remember, the murderer in Charleston, the white guy who just walked into a church, a Bible class, stayed there for an hour and then all of a sudden just killed 12 of them. The family members, every single one of them went to court and testified and forgave him. And I believe that was the reason why the Confederate flag started coming down, because America saw the compassion in those black victims' hearts and souls. And then they saw that Confederate flag, which was a insult to them. Let me just tell you my own. I had my own personal story, and by the way, I'm very proud of the fact that I won an International Human Rights Award in France for my abolishing the death penalty. But I had another incident at my home about 8 years ago now. 2:30 in the morning, I woke up with Antoine Neal and Bernard Kinney standing over my bed. 2:30 in the morning. And the first thing I heard was from Antoine Neal, and he said, "Shoot him." And then Bernard Kinney said something that has stayed with me to this very day. He said, "Cool, we're not going to hurt you." But then he said, "We're good people. We're just in a bad place right now." Now, what got me is he didn't say we're not bad people. He said we're good people. We're just in a bad place. They were strung out on crack cocaine. They didn't have any money, but they desperately needed another fix. So they took my money, they didn't harm me, and went down the street and got high again. Now, it was in all the newspapers and all the press, so they got arrested a few days later. I went and I testified on their behalf. I testified so that they could get the treatment that they needed rather than just go to prison and come out worse than they even went in. Those words stuck with me. We're good people. We're just in a bad place. Drugs do that to you. And when we just throw people in prison like we do throughout America, where we have 5% of the world's population and 25% of the world's prisoners, we are not saving those lives, and we're harming ourselves and wasting money. We're good people. We're just in a bad place. So we should help those people. And by helping those people, we help ourselves. And so criminal justice reform is a very big part of what I want to do. Again, I've already done it in New Jersey. I eliminated mandatory minimum. Like you said, I've done this. I eliminated mandatory minimum sentences for nonviolent drug offenses. And that has reduced our prison population by 50% for drug offenses, and where these folks are getting prison instead of treatment instead of prison. And I believe that, and what I want to achieve is to change the entire culture of corrections in our society, so that we don't start reentry when a prisoner gets out, but when they get in. And the goal should be that person becomes a better person than when they went in. And one last thing. When someone goes to prison, it's not just that person who's affected. It's that person's family. And not only just that person's family, it's the entire neighborhood. So the more that we can do to help avoid prison, to give treatment to people who need it, rather than just to incarcerate them and not give them an opportunity to grow, the better we will be. Not only will we be saving their lives, but we'll be helping ourselves as well.
Well, I want to say I have some of the finest lawyers in the country, and what makes them good, you can get them any time of the day or the night. Don't care where they're at. They will give you their private number, which most lawyers do not do. You can tell a fake, you can tell a procrastinator, but we called you and asked you would you come to Masjid Ullah in Plainfield, New Jersey, because you called out and asked, could I come to the masjid? So they answered your call immediately and said, would you come on Sunday, June the 4th, at 2 p.m. at 321 Grant Avenue in Plainfield, New Jersey, zip code 07060. One phone call. You said, I will be there. Now, let me tell the viewing audience one thing I do like about it. He's scheduled up until 1:30. And that's about at least a 25 minutes ride. And you say, yes, I'll be there. I have nothing to do around that time. So Imam Khalil of the masjid was so tickled to death, they announced it this at Juma that the senator will be here to talk to you all. We don't say who you should vote for. You're free. When you go behind that curtain, you could say anything. It's who pulls that knob.
Right.
But I want to ask you this question. Because I've been around politics, there was a great team called Ronald Saladin and partner who passed away. And they put together so many mayors, including Mayor Booker. And one thing Carl Sharif and Saladin always wanted, and I'm asking you, he says, you know how we can take these kids off the streets? He said, the $3 million or $4 million contracts, they can't help. But those hundreds of millions, 200 million, 300 million, like it cost the taxpayer $400 million to build the potential building. If they will take children and give them a trade, $15 an hour, they don't have to pay union dues because they're not in the union. So they save a great deal of money. But these kids in 4 years will be electricians, they will be carpenters, they will be bricklayers. And so the question is, when I heard that, I said, my God, that's correct. We are not the ones that build these conglomerate buildings and schools and churches. We are not the ones on the highway where all the money is given. And when you make these deals, you have a right to say, wait a minute, I'm from Elizabeth. I'm from Union County. You in my city. You in my state. How could you bypass those who don't have jobs? Now, they may not have the skills, but anybody could be a laborer. And if we will train these kids, it will give them an opportunity to have a choice, do crime or go to work. What do you think about that, Senator?
Well, I think a lot about that. And I think, though, we have to start early. First of all, by the way, we eliminated, after the Bell programs, the most dangerous time in a child's life, particularly in low-income areas, is after school before their parent or parents get home. We had after Bell programs where they could get training or could get recreation to keep them involved instead of just have them hanging out and maybe hanging out with gangs and drugs as well. So we have to restore those programs. But let me just briefly talk about something that no one talks about, but we must. The most important time in a child's ability to learn, the child's development, brain development to learn, is not at pre-K, but at prenatal to 3 years old. So I would provide what are called wraparound community schools. There are some that have a little bit of this in Newark and Patterson, but they have to be more intense because that mother needs the nutrition and medical advice while she's carrying the baby, and that baby needs the nutrition, and the family needs counseling services so that child can develop during those formative years so that when they get to school, they'll be able to learn, and they won't be frustrated because they can't do anything about it because they didn't develop the ability. So I think to have these job training programs, but we have to start early. That's the most important time, is to focus on make sure the mother gets prenatal care and that family gets the nutrition and counseling that they need, and that child's going to have a better opportunity to learn, and not just to get trade jobs, but any job that they choose to strive for.
I want to say to you, without a shadow of a doubt, I believe you are the one I believe your sensitivity, your love and affection. If you're a doctor and you come into the emergency room, even if it's your sister or brother, you can shoot them with an incentive to make sure they're pain, but they're not dying. But that stranger that's shot in the head, you have to do the operation. The African Americans are dying because no one cares. No one has the ability. Last but not least, we have the great Prudential Building. We have the magnificent art center. We have public transportation. We have the airport, which is outstanding. We got the port. There's no way, Senator, it was written in 1818, let them, don't teach them economics because they will steal, and we'll make money off them in prison. So this was designed. It takes one like yourself says, well, it's going to stop right here.
Yes.
I believe that there's enough of us in the state of New Jersey. We're talking about thousands, and you notice running for governor, they don't win by thousands of votes, maybe a few hundred or less. If us will come out, and we can vote, but we never saw anyone that had that sensitivity, that love and affection, more important, honesty, integrity, moral decency, not morals from the waist down, morals in loving people, like you say, morals in loving one to be able to provide for their family and send their children to family. I believe, Senator, that if we campaign hard, we can win over the Muslims that no one talks to. You have came to every masjid and you're willing to talk to them. Right now, we're trying to get Atlantic City, who already gave us 90% okay, Longside, who gave us okay. Trenton, I have to tell you before we end, I didn't understand the Christian says no one in Trenton cares about us. That's amazing. Well, I said I have a man that will care for you, so they want to set up. And Tom's River. So I want to thank you because I like, and I'm going to tell the viewing audience, I learned from Muhammad Ali. He told Howard Cosell, don't pre-prep me. Whatever you want to ask, just ask. But I'll tell you, that's how I am, and that's who you are.
Yes.
I wanted to send you some questions so you can read about it. Nope, you don't want that. Let's speak plain, clear, and if I don't know, if I'm doing something wrong, I'll be better if you remind me. Now, we'll leave you with this. It says, if you see your brother wrong and you're a brother, then you help him. Help him do what? Muhammad the Prophet Sallallahu said, help him to do right. We'll mirror one another. Muslim only means one who submit to the will of God, and you have just submitted to the will of God, so you're a Muslim by your nature. I want to thank you for coming. I hope my viewing audience, if you want to come back any time before the election, be honored to do so.
Well, it would be my honor, and it's been just a privilege and an honor for you to be on your show, and I want to thank you for the opportunity.
May God be with you, and we all will make a dua during the holy month of Ramadan and pray that one like yourself could be the governor of this state, God willing, inshallah. Thank you, and thank you, listeners. Once again, assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto you all. Ramadan Mubarak.